Welcome. This is RiaTalk for real people, where we're always keeping it real about real life. And here's your host, Maria.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to RiaTalk. Let's talk.
Okay, so what's the topic for tonight?
The topic tonight is Whoopi.
And you want to go into a little bit about that? What does that mean?
Oh yes. I've been very concerned about the host of The View, Whoopi Goldberg. You know, they've been whipping up on her, you know what, all over social media, all over the media. Of course, she has a fan base, and I am one of her fans. They're not going to be whipping up on Whoopi without us getting our little whooping cushion and let's go. Let's make it go.
What is it that you're so up in arms about?
But I'm about to put some whipping on. I'm gonna open my can of whoop. I'm going to open my can of whoop. I'm going to open my can of whoop. And you can get the rest. Okay. Whoop butt. Whoop it up. Here goes. Whoopi, who is a very sensible woman, and she's one of the, I see Whoopi on The View as a middle ground person, the one that's more like a mediator. She kind of settles things. She doesn't get things all stirred and popping. She kind of brings calm and reasonableness and to the show. And not that the other ladies are not being reasonable, but they're very opinionated on one side or the other. Whoopi Goldberg, you know, she's tend to, you know, kind of listen to both sides of it and come to something that would resemble a compromise, you know, to say, you know, I can see this and I can see that. So when Whoopi, I'm like, something smells in Denmark about her 2-week suspension. Mm-hmm. Whoopi Goldberg was suspended for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks because she said the Holocaust was not about race, but it was about humans being cruel and inhumane to each other. Now, let's put it a different way. What if Whoopi had said it was also about humans being cruel and inhumane? Whether it was about race or not, people were being evil. Whoopi has been very clear that the Holocaust was something that should never have happened. That's why your grandfather, my grandfather, many Americans died on D-Day and other days to go in and save the Jewish people and others regarding the Holocaust. Whoopi was not saying, they just want to whoop up on Whoopi's. They have opened a can of whoop butt, whoop a, whatever you want to call it. But mm-hmm. It is wrong. What they did to Whoopi, it upset me as a Black woman. It upset me as a human being. It upset me as a female on every level. Dr. King, we're in February, and we just celebrated Dr. King's birthday, January. And we're talking about fairness and justice. And what happened to Whoopi was not fair. I know she's going to come back and say, you know, I don't want to talk about it no more. We want this out and move on. I already know she's going to do that because that's who she is. Let's move on. Mm-hmm. But I bet you, it's just like a woman who has been molested or raped, or a young woman. But you know, you got the rest of your life to live. So if you're going to live and survive and maybe even thrive, you got to move on past it. Mm-hmm. So someone has molested Whoopi's name and molested her her integrity, who she is as a person, because she named herself Goldberg because she had a love for the Jewish people. She has love and appreciation for their culture. And many, if not most, all the people that complain on her, not all Jewish people, because many have come out and talked about what race meant to them. But I know how hurtful it is when you support a certain group and that group attack you like a pet bull. It's unfair, it's unjust, it's not right. Especially when I have much love for you. And I've always fought on your side, and I will always be on your side. But can you be on my side? Can you give a sister a break named Whoopi Goldberg? That is what has cooked my goose or whooped my butt as a Black woman who also loves Jewish people. Can also, I've seen Schindler's List 1,000 times and very compassionate and relate to it. And I love it. I made it my mantra. Never again would this happen. I got that from the Jewish people regarding World War II and the Holocaust. And as I was saying, there's a quote in Shakespeare that says, much to do about nothing. I want to say much to do about Whoopi. Much to do about Whoopi. I think, I don't know, to me, there's no way a reasonable person, there's another agenda there somewhere, something hidden. There's a hidden agenda because no reasonable person could have seen that Whoopi was being malicious. And the word I was thinking about, not only being malicious, there's a word, help me, when you're trying to be malicious and evil, it just slipped my brain altogether. Well, we'll go past it, we'll come, nefarious. That's the word I was thinking about. She was not being nefarious. She had no malintent. It just hurt my heart. It breaks my heart that this was done to Whoopi and the people who did it to her. Just like when I see Black people hurting other Black people, it breaks my heart. When I see women not standing up for other women, when I see women hurting other women, that breaks my heart. Because I'm all of those things. I'm a woman, I'm Black, and I relate very well to the Jewish community and the Jewish people, and I love them. And I support most, if not all, of their causes because they too have been oppressed. They understand oppression. And I know all Jewish people do not agree with what happened to Whoopi. But Whoopi, as the good soldier that she is, she was soldier on, because that's what we've always done as Black women. People always say, oh, the strong Black woman. Let me tell you, and I say it again, you heard me. I'm going to say it again. We're not strong just because we are a woman that happen to be Black. People have been whooping on our butts so much that we had to get strong. We had to get a tough hiney because people always want, like they said, S rolls downhill. And guess who at the very bottom of that freaking hill? A Black woman. So we always got to clean the poop off our face, off our heads, off our bodies, and live to fight another day. And that helps us to be strong. Help the perception of the strong Black woman. What are we to do? Am I to lay my head down and die? To rephrase Maya Angelou. Still I rise. Whoopi, listen, as Maya Angelou has told you, still I rise. You may write me in history as dirt, still I rise. Still Whoopi rise. Rise, Whoopi, rise. Rise on the shoulders of your ancestors. Rise. Still you rise because you're a person of integrity. You're a good person. You're a compassionate person. And you're going to ride off the shoulder, Maya Angelou. Still I rise.
So I have a few things about this. First of all, I also agree with you. I think that what her suspension was very much unneeded, because anyone who watched that interview that had eyes and ears could see that there was no, like you said, nefarious or malintent. But I did want to address, I had a few points to address here. I think even though you are a I think people always, this is how you set yourself up to get hurt. And also how to, because you support a group of people, you also have to remember that you are a guest in that community, you know? And so I think it's wrong to assume that you would think that the Jewish community would be rallying around her. I do, you know, there are people in the Jewish community that do support Whoopi, but I think it's presumptuous to assume that because, you know, Whoopi Goldberg had such an affinity or has such an affinity for the Jewish community that she would just automatically garner their support. So I think there's a lesson in that just because you support a certain group of people doesn't necessarily, you're always a guest in that community, especially if you're not a part of that. Secondly, I don't think it's the Jewish community doing this. I've heard lots of outrage from the Jewish community about Whoopi's suspension. I really think it's the studio. I feel like the studio did this as a
who's in charge of the studio?
I think this is the studio that's doing that. I don't know. I'm not going to make all these assumptions, but like I said, you know, there could be another agenda there. When you're always trying to figure it out, this is my rule of thumb: follow the money. Now, I don't know if her contract's coming up. I don't know if she's just too expensive of a talent to keep there. But when it's always something like this, I like to follow the money because the money trail never lies. So the thing is, I feel like it's very performative on the studio's behalf. I just don't think there was a whole lot of outrage from the Jewish community. So I do believe
even though there was not outrage.
I hadn't even finished.
I know. I got to interrupt you, though. I apologize. And you do know I don't generally interrupt you like this on this show.
Oh, okay. Continue.
Why there's not a big outrage, maybe from the Jewish community, it's just like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said. It was the silence of my friends. Where are my friends? Where are my Goldbergs? My Golden, Golds, Harrisons, whatever. I'm just saying, I would love to hear. Now, there was a guy, his name was I think it was Abramson. I can't forget his first name. I'm sorry, but he spoke out on it too, and it's clearly if Whoopi is wrong, at least half of America is wrong about race, our idea of race. So I looked it up.
You're gonna go ahead and continue on?
No. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
What I wanted to say is, so like I said, I had a few points. First of all, like I said, to just reiterate, just because you support a community does not necessarily mean you're a part of that community. And you always have to remember that you're a guest in that community. So just because you support them, you know, doesn't necessarily mean that they support you or that you're just automatically going to garner their support. And second of all, yes, I think there's another agenda going on with Whoopi being suspended. Thirdly, yes, I heard there is a YouTuber called Kempire, and he had gotten a clip of a Jewish professor who was talking about the context of race, and the context of race back then, because race is a construct, a human construct.
It's a social construct, right?
It's a social construct. The
Right.
thing is that so our understanding of what race is has changed. So here in the 21st century, when we think about race, we associate it to skin color. But back then, they were talking about the Jewish people as a race, and they considered them a race. And that's what happens with social constructs, that they can change because these are not fixed. They're not fixed reality and fixed. Everyone's a part of the human race. There is no race particular.
Right. Like if I was a Martian, I'd be part of the Martian race, separate from people, from those who bleed red blood and have other human qualities that define what makes a person a human. Am I right?
Exactly. So
Okay.
that's what I think that, why the outrage and why I'm also very disturbed by this because as anyone could have made this mistake because the thing is that like our understanding of race in the 21st century as opposed to race back in World War One, World War Two. So so
And
I, go ahead, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go
So
ahead.
that's what I'm saying. Those are my three main points that, yeah, this was
What's your
a growth.
first point?
My first point was just because you're a supporter of a certain community that you are not a part of, you were not raised into, does not
Or
automatically mean,
born into.
or born into, does not automatically mean you are going to garner that support. You always have to remember that you're a guest in that community. Second of all, the studio overstepped. I feel like this is performative and I feel like there's another agenda going on. Thirdly, our understanding in the 21st century of race is very different to the understanding and concept of race back in World War One, because race is a social construct, and because it's a social construct, it changes. So depending on the time period and the type of people you're talking about, in the 21st century, we associate race with color, the color of your skin. Back then, when they were talking about race, it was in a different capacity. And when you're looking back at the past, you have to understand that our understanding and today's understanding would be different. And those are my 3 points.
Okay, it's just like you said. I really believe something nefarious is going on with the studio. They're overstepping, or they did that to Whoopi. One, it's just me trying to figure out what's going on, as Marvin Gaye said. What's going on? Overstepping studio. They have a unspoken agenda happening on. Somebody suggested, I think it was Roland Martin when I watched his show today. He said, maybe they want to show that Whoopi, nobody's untouchable.
Could be.
Nobody's expendable. And because Whoopi's been there so long and she seemed to have taken Barbara Walters' place, it may have appeared to some that Whoopi was untouchable, and they wanted to show that she is touchable, and maybe they want to get her back in line. Something, I don't feel nothing good about what the studio did. I don't think what they showed us was their true intentions. It was nefarious. It's just my opinion. And I have a right to my opinion, just like Whoopi had a right to her opinion. She didn't have to be a scholar in talking about the social construct called race. She was doing that as we do in law, using the reasonable person standard. The reasonable person standard is a standard of the average man in America, the average Joe. I've read some papers that says the average American, the average Joe, reads on the 4th grade level, 4th to 6th grade level. So you don't have to be a professor or a sociologist to have your opinion, your own thought. This still is America. We have a right to freedom of speech, freedom of thought. You can't arrest and criminalize somebody for what they're thinking. and even for their ignorance. You know, I take that back. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. But anywho, like I said, I was feeling some kind of way. And listen, for those of you that do not know, whenever you hear that word, feeling some kind of way, it's negative. It's not good. And sometimes along this human journey, which is what I'm using as not a social construct, what I'm saying will be good in the 19th century, the 20th century, and the 21st century. So here goes. For humans, that's what I'm talking about. That's how we feel as humans. And to err is human, but to forgive is divine. Maybe that's why the studio couldn't forgive. They had to put her and those people that encouraged it. And those are the type of people that start things like World War II, because they get so sensitive. We gotta be so politically correct about everything. Are we gonna ever be able to have a conversation about anything that's not gonna step on somebody's toes? Hey,
Right.
Hey, don't be so sensitive. Now, some things is outrageous. Now, for me, I won't talk about somebody's religion in a negative way, because I know that's sacred to them, because my God is sacred to me. So to me, there are certain things that are off limit, including people's children. If you got an ugly baby, your baby was born ugly. And to me, all babies are beautiful because they're so innocent. But, some people may say, oh, that's a baby so ugly, he's cute. Well, he's so beautiful to me. So I'm not saying babies are ugly. I'm just saying this people's opinion. And with that said, I say as humans, in our preamble to the Constitution, we always talk about certain inalienable rights. It can be inferred that a right to your opinion, your thoughts, that should be inalienable. And I know it is. But anyway, go ahead. Take me somewhere else.
Well, we've actually run over time. So I just wanted to ask you, are there any last closing thoughts on this? I mean, this has been a topic that has been talked about. Everyone's got an opinion. I don't know if you saw recently, Monique kind of came for Whoopi, telling her that she should have called her, and so she could have guided her through this, given her a little bit of advice.
I did see it. And God saw it too. It really disappointed me, because I'm a fan. I'm still going to be a fan of Monique. See, sometimes you got to love the good, the bad, and the ugly. But
Well, it was petty.
I love myself some Monique, and I love myself some Whoopi. I always believe this. When you're a good person, you never kick a person when they're down.
Exactly.
Whoopi,
it was petty.
Whoopi was down. And when she told Monique that, I think she meant it well by it. Even if I agree with Monique's position, I say, sometimes when people give me their opinion, I know I judge their intent. I had a little white man to say this to me when I lived in Minnesota. He said to me, I was in the pool swimming, and he saw me, he said, "You're a cute little colored girl, and you kind of remind me of Angel Mama." He said, "Oh, he about in his 80s, maybe 90s, at least in his 80s. He said, "Oh, did I say something wrong?" I guess because I looked at him some kind of way. But I judged his intent. And lots of people say I should not have, but I gave him grace. I gave him forgiveness, because I knew, and some people still disagree with me, but he was talking to me, not to you. I gave him grace. I gave him forgiveness. I gave him a little bit of understanding. And I was not mad at him. And I answered whatever question or comment, and I took it in the spirit that he meant it in. This man's about 89, 90. He's an old person. He's still back in that day. He may have dementia or Alzheimer's. Sometimes we got to give people some grace. That's how I'm going to end it. And don't be whipping up on Whoopi, because somebody may want to get a can of whoop. But on you, grace and a little bit of understanding.
Well, that is a good stopping point, and that's where we're going to wrap it up. That's it for Ria Talk, where we're always keeping it real about real life. Please leave your comments and your compliments on our Instagram page at Ria Real Talk, and we'll see you next week.